there. Thanks. Okay. Well, thank you again, Rev Kev, for another session. And I always look forward to the sessions. So I think before we start, we'll just, if you don't mind, I'll quickly just get us started with prayer. So I invite us to go within. And simply rest in the peace within. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Father, Mother God, Holy Spirit, we give thanks for the sacred gathering. We give thanks for this union, this collaboration between Unity Sacramento, led by Rev Kev, and Unity Center of Love and Light here in Johannesburg, South Africa, led by Rev Tandy. We give thanks for friendship. We give thanks for love. We give thanks for the opportunity to learn. We give thanks for the opportunity to exchange ideas and grow together. We give thanks for what Spirit is leading us to here. We give thanks for the perfect manifestation of Spirit. We bless the divine ideas that are unfolding and continue to unfold each month through these sessions. And we give thanks for your beloved Son, Rev Kev, for all the wisdom he continues to share with us, for his commitment, dedication, and passion for our growth and spiritual transformation. We give thanks that we are blessed to be unified in this sacred gathering. And we know that the sacred gathering is blessed, it's good, and so very good, and that all is in divine order. And I lovingly and joyfully release my word into law and allow it to be. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Yes, Rev, I hope my dog is not, you're not getting a lot of feedback. My dog is just going a bit,
no,
yeah.
That's okay. Princess, come.
Yeah.
Come. Come here. Mine is right here.
Ah,
Come
wow.
here, Sanchez. Come here, boy. Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Say hi. Come. He's up here with me in the treehouse. Come on, boy.
Wow.
Come. Come.
Hi, Papa Vic.
Hi, Kavi.
Are you well?
Yes, 100%. Thank you.
All is well. No, thank you.
Oh,
You're not having power challenges.
No, it's fortunately not.
All is well. Thank God.
It's been suspended. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Rev Kev, yeah, I think just, for your time, I think we'll get going. This week let me see here. I think this week we really just wanted to continue the momentum in terms of these conversations we've been having with you. And where we wanted to start. It's really around your children, youth, and family ministries. And I just wanted you to perhaps share with us, Rev, your approach. How important is it to you? How are you, what's working, what's not working? What of the many years of Unity Sacramento, what has worked and what has been some of the successes? So if you perhaps can talk to us about that ministry specifically, Rev. Thank you.
Sure. Well, again, it's always good to be with you, and I'm more and more. Hello. More and more excited with these gatherings because I can see that what we're sharing is falling into rich soil. And so I'm just excited about that. With regard to youth ministry within a unity ministry and in the New Thought movement at large, it's extremely important, because in order for any ministry to remain vital, and in order for the message to move across generations, there has to be some connective tissue between those generations. And so youth ministry that's how I started. I started my ministry as a youth minister in a church in Florida, Universal Truth Center, with 200 young people and 16 different programs that reached them based upon their various interests, but also based upon the needs of the youth and the community where I serve. I have a career that has involved establishing camps for youth, creating opportunities for them to be exposed to college early, and so forth. So just to give you a little bit of the breadth of my background, for me, youth is a matter of serious business. That's just number one. In fact, that was our tagline at one of my churches. At the Universal Truth Center, youth is a matter of serious business. That's how we made it a prominent function. But let's talk about a few things that are happening within Unity, and then Unity of Sacramento in particular. Unity is an aging movement. And so we are more and more growing older than younger as a movement. Many of our churches have no youth ministries at all, no youth focus at all. And it has a great deal to do with the pipeline of those young people coming up through and becoming ministers themselves and teachers. At some point, you have to have this, it has to recycle. There has to be this circulation, if you will. And so many of our churches are not reproducing themselves, if you will. Okay, now he wants to come. Uh-oh, come this way. Come. One moment. Now give me 1 second. I have to address my little dog here. Come on, baby. Okay. So many of our churches are not reproducing themselves. And so we're growing older, not younger.
Okay.
At Unity of Sacramento, we have the blessing of growing younger and older at the same time, but younger probably equal to the rate that we're growing older. And I think it has to do with the fact that I have a young family. So the leadership consciousness makes an impression on the identity of the community. I think it's very important that whatever we project from the front of the stage, from the front of the house, carries its way out. So if you want a youth ministry, you have to show it on Sunday morning. Somehow you have to integrate them into what you're doing now. So if you don't have one, integrate them in the current program so that they can see the ministry and your community can actually see that this is where you're going. So for example, and it's what you value. So for example, you can integrate youth into your Sunday service by having them read the daily word, right? You can integrate them by having them sing a song or something along those lines, but that we are projecting to the community how we see this ministry being. And we make a habit at Uni of Sacramento of doing just that. Now, I happen to be a married man with 3 children. And so literally my congregation has attracted, my community has attracted young couples with children. It's attracted that. But before I was there, the ministers who were there recognized the importance of youth ministry, right? And so we have a robust Sunday school program. We have a nursery. We have lessons on the campus for children to take piano and lessons for guitar. We just ask our musicians to teach the kids lessons, you know. We have, let me think of all the things we have going on. We have a youth Sunday program where, you know, every fifth Sunday, the youth take over the service. So we have them do all of the different parts. We have our children, we sent our kids to a camp to learn how to work all of the technology. So on Sundays, if you're ever watching, if you ever watch one of our services live stream, those are our kids, young people, preteens and teenagers running the cameras. Okay, so we integrate them into the structure. We have a studio on the campus where they can learn how to use green screen technology and the teleprompter and all of those things that will give them an opportunity to be engaged. We have on the campus something that I really want to talk about, what's working, what's not working. One of the things that's not working is this thing of competing with technology. So some of the things that I did in youth ministry before, I'm having to come up with new and innovative ways to reach them, because things that were once exciting to youth before are not altogether exciting today. So we created a space on our campus called the Dream Zone. And the Dream Zone has a stage in there. It has their own computer lab in there. It has a pool table and chalkboard facilities and all those sorts of things, and games and everything, air hockey table. They didn't bite that. They didn't bite that apple. They did not bite that apple. They would rather have tablets. They would rather, you know, connect with each other through the technology. So that's one of the things that we are working with. And so part of what we have found to be effective for where we are is appealing to them through the performing arts, okay? And so anytime we're having something that involves them singing, dancing, speaking, they tend to be more engaged. One of the things that is a challenge for us right now is teachers, getting enough teachers to teach the youth. Remember I said Unity is growing older, right? And so the folks that used to be the champions for youth ministry and all of that, they're kind of tapping out and aging out, if you will. And so our challenge is now to repopulate and reproduce teachers and get more people to be trained to teach. In fact, we're about to do a youth training. We're about to do a youth training in a few weeks. One of the challenges with shutting down our campus for 2 years is that a number of our top youth volunteers went away. So now we're in the process of retraining, recalling, rebuilding all of what we had, you know, before the shutdown. The other thing that we've done with our ministry is, particularly during the pandemic, is to, when the children couldn't come to campus, we got creative and we used our studio to create a character called Kayvon. And Kayvon is a puppet. Have you seen Kayvon before? Kayvon is a puppet that speaks to kids in a language that they can understand, using truth principles, and supports them through some of the challenging times that we're facing around the pandemic, around race, and around growing up in these times. And so that was very effective. You know, we created these really cool episodes. I may show you some little clip of it if I can before, just if you haven't seen Kayvon. But it was our way of trying to connect with youth and not leave them behind as we move through the pandemic. So let me just speak to you about your situation there.
So we, and Papa Vic, please also feel free to come in. So we still a fairly small community. So we don't have a youth and children's ministry. We have had situations where, you know, we have taught lessons. We've had, you know, moments where if we've got, say, 4 or 5 children, then one of the parents would go, and because the parents have been in unity, they're then able to share depending on the age group of the children that are there. Now, in the middle of June, we have a session scheduled where we will be looking into how we can make that ministry more permanent and more of a fixed structure. Because I've also recently, in the last 2 weeks, completed a program, urban ministerial school program.
Cool. Good.
Yeah, on youth and family ministries, and I've just, you know, but I've got like 2 textbooks. But what's important about this conversation is to say practically what are your experiences. And I think also one of the areas that I'm specifically looking at is that, you know, the different churches, you've got smaller churches, you've got medium churches, you've got big churches. So whether there's a difference in the approach. But I think maybe the last thing that I want to say before maybe Victor, Papa Vic wants to come in, is that in my mind, I really like the idea of getting the children involved. I think we have tried it before, but I don't think we were as intentional and long-term about it. So because, yes, we've got kids and we know they can read, then we'd give them a children's daily word to read. But I think as a fixed item, that's where, and you know, with that long-term view in mind and the commitment to integrate them, it's perhaps a conversation we need to have and reflect on. Papa Vic, I don't know if you've got anything to add on this.
No, not really. Rev Kev, hi. It's just that one of the things that you spoke about earlier on regarding people that have stepped out of youth ministry because of aging. Now, I am in that kind of position because of I'm an elder in the church, not because I've been a minister for so many years, but because of the age that I am now and my experience to be able to take care of whatever is possible as an elder in church. And by the time I will be ordained, I will be much older again. So I don't know if you can maybe advise me as to how I can handle the youth ministry at this age. I know you're not at this age already, but you know of
Yeah.
people that's gone on because of that.
So wonderful question and good point. The point is that age has nothing to do with, you know, being in leadership in a youth ministry. It's nothing to do with it. It is having a passion and a desire to support our youth in becoming what they were created to be. So being there for them, having a place in your ministry where they belong and where they know they belong is huge, just in and of itself. If you remember, the disciples were people were bringing children to Jesus, and the disciples tried to shush them away. And Jesus said, "Suffer unto me the little children, forbid them not, for to such as these belongeth the kingdom of heaven." This idea of he made it a point to create a space for them. And then reminded us, if we don't become like little children, if we don't become teachable, if we don't become humble, if we don't become like them, we will not gain access to the kingdom. And so there is this, the importance of creating a space for them where they belong, whether that is integrating it into your existing Sunday program, where they can take part in being on the platform, whether that is letting them pass out the leaflets on Sunday mornings, whether that is allowing them to operate your cameras or teaching them integration into the ministry, particularly with the size that you have, because one of the challenges is capacity. You know, being able to have two things going on at the same time might not work for a ministry of your size, if that's what I'm understanding. And so finding a way to integrate it. So no, your age is not a deterrent, and you don't have to wait till you become ordained in order to serve in youth ministry. There are some basic approaches that can be taken, you know, to stand up a youth program at your church. And I think it involves coming up with one of the simplest ways is to pair what the minister is teaching with an approach to youth. Okay, so if the minister is teaching on love, how can we teach the children about love in a language and in a way that they will understand? You get that? So you can kind of pair the adult program with the youth program in a way that they can relate to it. And I like to do this in a way that involves not only spoken word, something that's didactic, but interaction and play and hands-on activity. Children like to be engaged in the learning process. And they have a higher, and I'm not telling you something you don't already know, right? I always suggest be as creative as you possibly can, be as out of the box as you possibly can. One of our youth leaders, you know, we were talking about, our current series is called Bloom Where You're Planted. And we're talking about every week this business of us placing our souls in the right soil to release our divine potential. So in the youth ministry, the youth instructor working with a group of children brought in seeds and dirt and soil, and they're in there planting, planting seeds in order to try to connect to this message of placing your soul in the right soil so that you can release your divine potential. You get what I'm saying? So there are all sorts of creative ways to go about it. One of my favorite books, and Urban Ministerial School may have recommended this book, for youth ministry. It's a wonderful book filled with great ideas. It's called Purpose-Driven Youth Ministry, Purpose-Driven Youth Ministry by Doug Fields. Doug Fields. He is or was, I believe, the youth minister to the Saddleback Church in Orange County, California, in the US. It is a very popular book. It lays out almost step by step how to establish a youth ministry, how the methodology to be thinking about when attracting families and engaging them, because in as much as you want to serve the children, you also want to serve their parents. And one thing we know for sure, and I want you to remember this, parents will follow their children. Parents will, if you have something great going on at your church, even if it's not on Sundays, let's say you had a Saturday program, like we ran for many years a Saturday sports program. Well, parents have to drop them off and pick them up and so forth. Okay, so eventually you can minister to the families as well. You know, what are some challenges parents are having? Parents are having challenges with their teens and technology. Maybe we need to have a parent circle just to talk about the issues that they're having with rearing their children today in 2022. I don't know culturally what the differences are in South Africa, but you might want to look at what are some of those things that parents are challenged with, right? Families are challenged with, and how is a Unity Center of Love and Light the solution for that? Is it light and love or love and light?
Love and light.
Love and light. Unity Center of Love and Light. How is Unity Center of Love and Light helping parents and families solve a problem that we know they're dealing with? You don't have to try and solve all of them, but start it. Maybe it's a discussion group. And that then you then have an opportunity to say to them, hey, we want to continue this. Will you support it? We want to have ongoing activities. And then the book will show you how to tease out the skills and the talents and the areas where parents can be of support. So they become your instant volunteers. In fact, at Unity of Sacramento, if you have children in our youth ministry, we require that you serve at least once a month.
Wow.
In support of the minute. Yeah, you just, we want you to be at stake for their growth, their development. Okay. We want to celebrate when a child is born. We want to make sure that the minister is christening children as often as possible. I don't care if they're members of the church or not. If there's a baby being born, extend an invitation to that family to allow them to be blessed in the community. More and more, you're going to be sending the signal to your congregation that children and families belong here. We want you here, and they are part. So you become the place where it happens. If tragedy strikes in your community surrounding children, the minister and the ministry shows up to stand with those that are mourning and hurt. And you're now pastoring the city or the town or the place where you are, where there is suffering. Come on over. You go out to them, then you invite them in for more healing. You get what I'm saying? Wow. So you start to not only be focused on your center, but focus on the city. You want to think of yourselves as lights into the city, lights into the town, lights into the province where you are. So these issues that happen even outside of the walls, they're your concerns too. Do you get that? Yeah. Now you're seen as these folks are committed for real. They are this community is not just trying to fill their church with people. They're trying to fill people with love. They're trying to bring healing to the community. They're they're a force for good in the world. You get that? So
Yeah.
people who are suspicious about coming into places of worship and suspicious or have hesitation, they'll see you out there. They'll see you in the community. They'll start to associate you with the good works that you're doing. Okay. So it's a variety, but if I had to give you a step-by-step process that I have actually utilized, approached, utilized and applied, purpose-driven youth ministry is the one that I have worked with. Been very successful with. I adapt a lot of their processes to my situation. Okay. And I've been successful. But if I had to take a first step, I would start by immediately finding a way to integrate youth into what you currently have. It's going to shatter the present paradigm of what church service looks like, which is it's an adult thing. Got to change that if you want to grow. Now, they may not always be in every single service, but you got to start somewhere.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Does that help?
Very helpful, Rev. What is the author again of the book? I wanted to quickly make a note.
Doug Fields, Dougfields.
Doug Fields, got it. Okay, great.
Yeah, wonderful book.
Wow.
And just know that, know that with this particular book, though the author is more fundamentalist in his theology, his process is universal. You can take that process and apply it and adapt your theology to it. Okay.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, we do read a lot of text material as well of authors that are coming from fundamentalist background, so we know exactly how to handle that. Yes.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Rev, the next topic, and probably today we'll just limit it to two, is the process then when a new person comes in. So Unity of Sacramento has been out there, bringing love to the city. Now a Kabelo then comes to Unity Sacramento. Do you have what I'm the reason that this is an issue for me is that I find at times that people will come and join our church and stay there for a few months, maybe a year or two, and then we seem not to always, I mean, it's not in all instances, but in a number of instances, maybe after 2 or 3 years, an individual then is no longer as active. Yes, we do make recordings available and so on. But I wanted to just get a sense from you. Do you think about the journey of a new member on how you're going to keep people being part of Unity Sacramento?
Yes. So you're talking about retention, and you're talking about, the intention of retention, right? The intention of retention.
You got it, yes.
There, again, this process that I love and work with is based on the book, now Purpose-Driven Church. So you have Purpose-Driven Youth Ministry, and then there's Purpose-Driven Church, which is more for the holistic. And that was written by Rick Warren, okay? And he introduces you to these concentric circles that gives you a way of thinking about moving a person from their first visit all the way up to leadership. How do we see that person from walking in the doors to becoming a leader in the community? How do we get them there? And so just quickly, he he has this chart in the book, which I want you to get. Talks about, just think about these circles, okay? I'm going to do a circle and a circle and a circle and a circle, that kind of thing, okay? So you have this first circle, and this first circle is called community. This is the community. This is somehow or other, people learn about your church from community because they're outsiders first. So somehow, whether they drove by and saw the sign on the building, or whether someone told them about it, they're in this outer circle called community. Then they move, somehow when they come for the first time, they move into what's called the crowd. The crowd is your big service. Whatever your biggest service is, it's usually a Sunday service, that big service. They come into that space. Now they are there, and now they have an opportunity to learn how to take the next step. And part of moving them from the crowd into the next step is having a new member orientation. Come and learn about our community. Come and find out about unity. And so at Unity of Sacramento, we have a class called Unity 101. This is for people who are curious and want to learn about our church and want to learn how to become involved and want to learn what we believe and ask all kinds of questions that you can't necessarily ask on a Sunday morning. And so we have those scheduled regularly. Okay, that then, for those individuals who move from community to the crowd, big service, now they're moving into, they're still not quite yet to this next level, but we've given them the step to take to get to that next level called Unity 101. Oh, now I love what I learned in Unity 101. Now I want to join. That next circle is called congregation. That means that they have now become a part of the congregation. They've joined, they are members. You see that? So come from the crowd, community, crowd. You have a lot of people who are in the crowd who've not joined, right? You have to give them a pathway to join. At Unity of Sacramento, you see our little squirrel there? The pathway, I'm very high up in a tree. The pathway.
Oh, you're in the treehouse.
Yeah, I'm in the treehouse. Yes, and so we're high up here, so you might see some living things come by.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
So the pathway to join is Unity 101. That's part one, and then spiritual baptism. So Unity 101 and spiritual baptism are the process for becoming members. So now they take that, now they've moved into the next circle called congregation. When you're in the congregation, that means that you are a member. You can vote when we have elections on issues and officers and so forth. You are a member for all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereunto. So now you're a member. You're in the congregation. But just because you're in the congregation doesn't mean you're an active member. So how do we grow people to their next level? That's where the classes, the workshops, the seminars, the small groups, all of those things that helps people to dive deeper and to get a greater understanding of the teachings. So you want new members to have a class to attend, a small group to plug into immediately. Like, these are your options. This is what's coming up. And we don't expect them to do everything that seasoned members are doing, but we want them to know that they are available and to get involved. So now we get them. Now they've gotten into some classes and so forth. And now they're into the next circle called committed. These folks are committed. So now they're not only taking classes and they're learning the teachings, but they're now finding ways to serve. So we have at Unity of Sacramento every first Saturday an event called Hands on Unity. This is when the community comes out every first Saturday to do something on our campus to improve the campus, to beautify the campus, or to copy papers that we are going to circulate for something. They're involved in a service activity on the campus, right? But they can also be involved in other committees and other activities and all of that. When you start seeing people get committed, you're going to start seeing them volunteering their time and their service. You're also going to see them start to tithe or give on a regular basis. Okay, so now they're committed. And then you move them from the committed level and now to the core. The core is where you are. The core is where you are. You are considered core to your ministry. And the core level, these are the individuals who are running for the board of trustees. These are the individuals who are your licensed teachers, your ministers. These are the individuals who you can hand a small group to. These are the individuals that the ministry relies on as its essential workers, right? These are the folks who hold the thing together. And these are the folks who are most likely the spokesperson who attract people from the community. They're the biggest inviters. They're the biggest sharers. They're the biggest learners. They're your model citizens in the community, in your spiritual community. Get that? So we start out here, and then we grow people through this series of steps. So the answer is yes, there is an intention for retention. And then you want to thank people, constantly thank people. For every little step, thank them for their giving, thank them for being present, thank them for inviting people. You want to contact people. They had a birthday, they had a graduation. Recognize people as they make progress in your ministry. You can always use your Sunday service to celebrate an occasion, so that this is a way you retain people. So every Sunday, every first Sunday, it's birthday Sunday. So everybody's born in some month. And so if you're born in the month of April, stand up and let us sing happy birthday to you. Okay, well, this is creating a connection for me to my community. They see me, they recognize that I was born. You get what I'm saying? All of these things. Visitations when someone is in the hospital, a phone call from the minister, a visit, those things create retention. Following up with people when they write you with a complaint. You know, if someone says, hey, I didn't like this, follow up with them. Don't dismiss it. You know, call them and see, well, what was that about? You know, oh, and then they start to realize, oh, they care. They actually care here. You know, that is one of the ways in which people are retained. They start to feel more and more like they belong. They more and more feel like this is their community. They more and more feel like they have a place. And then one of the great retention pieces is small groups. You know, and it's a thing, you know, to do in this time. Small groups can be, you know, 3 to 5 people just coming together to talk about things that relate to men. So men's groups and women's groups, and, you know, healthy eating groups, and recovery groups, and so forth, right? People will continue to come back to the place where they are nurtured and nourished, you see. And it all doesn't have to be driven by the minister standing up, giving a talk every time, you know. Just like minds want to sit together in the safety of their community and just discuss an issue. Okay, give them some room to do that. Give them a few guidelines and let people run with it. Purpose-driven church spells that out. And they probably have revisions for the 21st century, right? Because when I started reading all this, it was in the 90s, okay? All right, so...
Yeah. No, I think actually I do have a copy of this book somewhere in my things here, because I bought it long before I joined Unity. But I've got a lot of insights because I read it a long time ago. But I'm sure that me and Cabello can go around, check it out again, and then we can create a good model out of that book for the size of our church.
Yes.
Yeah, and we but I thank you so much for the insights that you've just given us. It is beautiful. Thank you.
And indeed, and one thing that's very important in all of this is being crystal clear on the church's vision, mission, and core values, like really at the leadership level, knowing what that is. What is our vision? What is our mission? What are our core values? And being crystal clear of that, the why you're there. And more making sure that everybody understands why you're there. Everybody affirms why you're there. And everybody is, in whatever way they're a part of that ministry, they're working toward this larger idea. And usually to get that kind of thing, you have to do a retreat or something, take some time with your key leadership to go there and really get clear on that, if that's not already been done. Seems like that's already done. But it's definitely something to keep in the forefront of your. And in our church, it's literally on the wall. I mean, you can walk in and see when you first step into the property, biggest day is our vision written on the wall. And then in another room, our mission written on the walls, and our core values, big on the wall, our 5 principles on the wall. I mean, huge. And just to integrate this into the very fabric of the property itself, the campus itself, so that it is, it's our compass. Okay.
Yeah. Just to make it, to embed it into the psychology or the consciousness of everyone of the congregation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because once you want people to catch that spirit, you want them to get it. This is why we're here. This is what we're working toward. This is how we get there. And you reaffirm that over and over again. And eventually people will start to find their place inside of it. There won't be any lack of clarity around that. And this supports growth and expansion, and gives people a sense of where they're taking their lives, as a part of the ministry.
Yeah.
Rev,
We actually, fortunately, have been doing this last Sunday about the vision and mission, Camilo.
Yeah.
And so one other edition is about our core values.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've taken notes, and we can just add on to that, because we have to finalize this come Sunday again. Yeah. And
I'm recording and I'm taking notes, so
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Rev, I wanted to just, for me, my probably last 2 questions. I don't think we should get into the social media one today, but I just, as a build up to the 2 issues we've dealt with this evening. The first one is more around then, looking at these layers. Is there a particular way does you and your team measure to say this is working, we need to maybe improve here, and so on? So that's my first question. And then my second and probably last question for this evening, it's more around you, to say, you have a lot on your plate. How do you find balance? How do you make sure that the different roles of you being the minister, you being a father, you being a partner, you being a community activist, what is your thinking around it, and how do you make sure that you have that balance right? Thanks, Rev.
For the first question, we evaluate every week, okay, through our staff meeting. So in our staff meeting, we look at what worked, what didn't work, what was missing. We never use the word what's wrong, but what was missing, what worked, what didn't work, what was missing, right? And each week we look at the service, how did it go? We look at our approach to music and AV and all of the various aspects of the game plan, you know, and then we tweak it, adjust it in our staff meetings, and then we go back out and do it again. In a larger sense of the organization, the Board of Trustees does this in our annual retreats. So we take some time away. I take my board once a year to Lake Tahoe. And it's in a retreat house, and we take up a retreat house and we spend several days in there, not only learning more about their roles and responsibilities, but looking at the ministry from a 30,000 feet view to kind of look at where are we in light of our mission, vision, core values. What are the big things that we need to be thinking about? So both on the staff and at the board level, so macro and micro in terms of how we approach evaluation. One of our core values is excellence. And so because our core value is excellence, then the manner in which we approach what we do is about giving our best. And so we're always able to ask the question, was this our best? Did we give our best? Was this the best that we could do? And so it's just a question that is core. One of our core values is love, you know. Was this the most loving program we could put on? Did we convey this in a spirit of love, you know, and so forth, so that your core values pour through the way you evaluate it. These are the benchmarks around which you can come back to when you're doing your evaluations. Your core values speak to that. And on that note, regarding me and my personal life and ministry and all that I'm up to, I have integrated into the church, from a leadership perspective, the core value called self-care. Self-care is a core value at Unity of Sacramento, and it is a core value in my life. And so how do I do it? It comes first. I have to take care of me. I have to love me. I've got to rest my body. I have to fill my cup. I have to make sure that I have what I need within myself in order to give that to my family, give that to the church, give that to the community, give that, you know. And so I insist that not only I do this, but my whole staff and board does this. And so one of the things that we do in every meeting is a check-in. We check in to see where people are and what support they might need in taking care of themselves, like for real. So it's built into the culture of my ministry and work. When someone needs to take off time, we don't make a big fuss about who needs to come back into, you know, who will back them up while they're away, you know. I took a 90-day sabbatical not long ago, you know, 90 days away from the ministry just to recharge my spiritual batteries, reflect and all of that, so that I can get back up and running, right? So, and then the other thing is planning. You got to plan for it. Plan for your family to be successful. So as much as I plan for the church to be successful, every year my wife and I take a retreat, a family retreat, and we look at our goals for the year as a family. What do we want to accomplish, and what ways do we want to, what areas can we improve in, and all. We do that every year. Okay. That retreat became so popular that it was written up in a national magazine in the United States, you know, radical things that couples do to keep their marriages alive and healthy. So you plan. Team, village. It's important to have a team and a village. And recognize that I don't have to do everything. I don't have to be at every function. I don't have to go to everything. I'm going to say no probably more than I say yes, right? But when you get a yes from me, you're going to get 1,000% of me. You're going to get all of me when I finally give you your yes. So teaching people to respect your no and to value your yes. Man, when you get a yes, when you finally get a yes, man, I've been waiting to meet with you for years. Well, here we are. And now you got all of me. You got 1,000% of me versus me coming out of breath, hurried, splintered. You get what I'm saying? So you, and then delegation, you know, pass it on to another leader, trust other leaders, build leaders all around you, build leaders and equip leaders all around you to be able to do things that you're not good at. And that's one of the ways, you know, that I work on balance. So right now, this summer, so far, we've taken one trip to New York. We're going to take a trip to Puerto Rico this year. You know, I'm coming to Tanzania, and the New York and Puerto Rico trips are just for the family, just spend time with the family. And then I'm coming to Tanzania for a little while. And when I get back, I will be going away for a little while. I'm actually going to Harvard University from August to May of 2022. So I'll be in the class of 23 at Harvard Divinity School this year. And that had a lot to do with me talking with my family and planning and getting the support of the community and all of that. So that's going to be happening pretty soon for me soon. Mm-hmm.
Great stuff, Reverend. Have you been to Africa before?
Yes, I've been to Cape Town, well, Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah, I remember you said that a long time ago.
That was when I got to meet some of the wonderful freedom fighters there, and got to meet and present an award to President Mandela at the time, and just a huge honor. I loved every drop of it. It was in 1999 at the Parliament of the World's Religions. One of the, you know, one of the precious moments, most memorable moments of my life, you know. So this will be my second time coming to the continent, and I'm hoping to see some of you. I heard that we might be seeing some of you when we're in Tanzania or Zanzibar. That'll be. Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes, Rev. It'll be great to meet you. To meet you there. Thank you.
It would be awesome.
Yes. Now, Rev, thank you so much. Yeah, we've completed our hour, and we appreciate your time. Papa Vic, would you mind closing us with a prayer?
Okay, if we can just go within center. Breathe in God and breathe out life. We give thanks this evening for this opportunity where we have met in oneness to discuss valuable issues of life in the ministry. We thank God for being able to work through Rev Kev to give us the time, this precious moment, and the information that we have received from you, all the insights and all the advice. We really appreciate it. We thank God for this peaceful time and His righteousness. We let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
So it is.
Amen. So it is.